Welcome everybody. Here we are again for another episode in our wonderful podcast. Um, this this episode is an extension of the last one, spirituality on the inner. And this one we're speaking on spirituality on the outer world, spirituality from the outer world. So basically, everything as so above, so below, inner, outer. So what you're working on or what is within is reflected outwardly, right? So in this episode on our Well-Beings podcast, we will be speaking about spirituality in reference to the outer world, right? Okay, so the first question is how do external labels affect your spiritual and physical reality? How do external labels affect your spiritual and physical reality? Well, for me, briefly, I give you a brief answer to that, because for me, labels, we all act like we don't care. Like we say, oh, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what people think. But in hindsight, I think everybody does. Any social being anyway probably does. Because labels, I think about the male, the female. Well, a man is supposed to be this way, a female is supposed to be this way, one is supposed to be masculine, one is supposed to be feminine, and I'm just speaking about those labels right now. There's so many, right? But I just want to keep it brief for this promo video. In that, a lot of times, well, I'm keeping it on the eye. Like for me, working in my spirituality, on my spirituality, on my journey, those labels have been difficult because it's like I'm trying more and more to feel than to go by what I see and what I hear. But a lot of times I have to like, is this what I'm really feeling, or is this like, am I rebelling to, the norms, or like a lot of times I battle within myself, like, am I being too masculine? Like, am I being too feminine? Like, I don't want to appear to be this way or appear to be that way. Like, I just want to be me, and I don't want people to get a misconception or think that I'm trying to be a particular type or way. Like, I'm just trying to be me. But in that, like, I often find myself, like, I'm not trying to do too much of this, or I'm not trying to do too much of that, because I don't want to appear this or I don't want to appear that. So briefly, I'll say that is one way that a label affects my spiritual growth. I'm not saying that it hinders it. I'm not saying that it hinders it, but what I will say is that it is something that I deal with, Yeah. For the second question, what role does our outer world play in our spiritual growth? Okay. What role does our outer world play in our spiritual growth? It's the ultimate playground. It's the ultimate, that's the battlefield. The outer world is the battlefield for your spiritual growth. Like I was saying previously, what you work on within, who you are within, the things that you care about and you believe in, and those things are mirrored in your outer world. Those things are reflected in your outer world, right? So your outer world should always be used as a thermometer of where you are spiritually, and what you need to work on, and what you need to work on, and where you're improving, right? So like for me, for instance, like working with a particular person and being impatient in a way about something, I don't want to give too much. Being impatient about something, about a way that this particular person is. At first it's this person, oh, this person is so annoying. Oh, this person is this way, or this person has this belief and it's not right. And then as you're working on yourself, you come to a more mature understanding that a lot of it, if not all of it, is you and how you perceive and how you think and what you take in and what you deem important and what you give definition to, right? So, in working with myself spiritually and on my spiritual journey, I know that I'm maturing in a way, in a particular way, with being present in how I perceive things and what I take in, and letting things get under my skin, get me angry, make me feel embarrassed, or those negative give me a certain level of fear. Those things that make me feel those ways, I'm extremely present on. So when I'm starting to feel those ways, or not automatically, not automatically, and not all the time, because I'm still a work in progress. But a lot of times now, more often, I'll say, to be honest, more often now, I can be present in those things and try to focus the way I'm thinking. And okay, he's telling me something that I know how to do, and this is so basic. Is he trying to say, like, he's trying to, like, this dude thinks I'm retarded. This dude thinks I'm dumb. Okay, so as I'm working on myself now, and he's still telling me the basic steps to something that is so, like, a 3-year-old could do it. Okay, this is just him. He just needs to explain. He just needs to hear himself say it out. He just needs to talk. And just in that perception, that change of perception, I'm able to just be calm and just let him just go ahead and on and what he's saying and not feel no way about it, because it's not about me. It's not about him thinking I'm dumb, or even if he does that, I'm not. So in my mind, he just needs to just say it out loud. He just needs to rehearse it and say. He just needs to feel comfortable that he said it. So if anything goes wrong, he could say he said it. All those things. Just that. So that's a long answer. That was supposed to be a short answer for, the ways that my outside world, like, shifts, and how I work on my spiritual world from using my outside environment. The third question is, how do you consistently reframe your mindset to structure your inner and outer world? How do you consistently reframe your mindset to structure your inner and outer world? So, how do I consistently change my perception, or how do I consistently keep my mind in a better, or in a producing mindset, as opposed to falling off and thinking negatively, or falling back into the same trap of old thinking patterns and old behaviors? That's actually a good question, because that's hard. That's hard. And yeah, I guess I can say that I am actually consistent, actually, in doing that. I'm consistent in being present, and when I'm having a thought, or if I know that I'm having a thought, like catching myself, like, okay, you're being negative right now. Like, okay, you're letting this negative thought linger too long now. Or, like, like, all right, the way you said that was not healthy, so think of a different way to say that. think it, and then say it. So I do those things. Um, I would say consistently, I would not say all the time or as often as I would like to. I'm getting better. Getting more and more present. I'm becoming more consistent. I'm consistent now, but not as often as I like. Um, because I do have times where I have a thought like, for instance, man, our society is going shot to HE double hockey sticks in a handbasket. I'll have that thought, and I'll know that it's not a good thought to have because ultimately your universe is your beliefs mirrored, right? So I don't want to have those negative thoughts. I do have hope in our society and people as a whole. So when I have those thoughts and they're very specific, and sometimes I let the thought of that specific thing or that tragic event or that thing like to linger for more than a few seconds or more, like, so I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it's kind of addictive to be in that old thinking pattern. It's kind of addictive. It's familiar. Like I don't know, it sounds weird, but even though it's not where I want to be, that thought pattern, it's not where I want to be. So a lot of times, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's like, all right, I'm gonna give myself 5 more minutes of thinking like this, and then I'm gonna change my thought. And it's weird to say, but I do it. I do it. So that's how I do it. But it takes being present. It takes being present. So first I just had to just actually notice that I was having those thoughts. That was the first step. Now I have it. Sometimes I'll give myself a time frame or whatever, and then I'll have a backup thought that's better to change that thought. Or I'll have, if it's something short, not a whole thought, but something negative that I said or something, then um, I'll reframe. I'll reframe that sentence and say something else. So, question 4: how do you see and actualize abundance when it's not your current reality? Ooh, ooh, ooh. How do you see and actualize abundance when it's not your current reality? Wow. No, that's a good one, right? Because that's a hard one. And if people could do that, if people could do that consistently, the world would be more abundant. The world would be so completely different, right? I think that is the hardest thing to do is to see something that's not there. Bill. So for me, is that's something that I want to be more consistent with. I do. And it's so crazy because as easy as I could change my thoughts, it's not as easy to hold the image that I want to hold. So like daydreaming. For me, like daydreaming is I don't want to say the only way, but that's like my go-to way. Like that's when I'm in my fantasy world, right? And I could daydream at any time. I could daydream while I'm walking, really. But daydreaming, that's when it's like it's most natural. Like when I'm not trying to like force myself. When I'm meditating, I sometimes feel like I am like forcing myself to like picture an image and hold the image. Picture the inside of this house, picture the inside of this room, or picture this scene or whatever. picture this image of you seeing this person, and it's like sometimes it's exhausting, it's mentally exhausting. It's like, all right, now that it took all this energy to structure and formulate this image, all right, let it go. And then it's like the walls fall and it's back to reality. So when I'm daydreaming, that's just the most natural time. It's like it does it on its own, it does it on its own. That one's a hard one. When we get to the podcast, I'll have a better answer for that one. That one's actually a good one. I have to be present for that. I have to be more present in that. That's a good one. The last question, how does the reflection of your spiritual growth show up in relationships? So how does your spiritual growth reflect in your outer world or in your relationships? So I think, like, for me, I'm pretty sure for me, it shows in just me being able to tolerate. It really shows in me being able to tolerate things differently. And some things I wouldn't even say it's like me tolerating, it's just like a different outlook on things, a more mature way of looking at things, right? And it's allowed me to handle situations better. It allows me to go through circumstances, situation. I don't want to say with ease, but I will say easier, so I want to give like a quick specific example, right? So like an example would be like if you're having spiritual growth. I never had no relationships with my biological mother nor my foster mother, right? But in spiritual growth, it's like, we talk about forgiveness and not in a religious sense of what forgiveness is, but in real spiritual growth, forgiveness and just being able to not be indifferent, but to be able to have more blanket understanding that everybody plays their role in their part, and things are not supposed to be comfortable or easy for no person their whole entire life, right? So even though neither one of my mothers had a relationship, and actually it was really bad relationships, in my spiritual growth, I am able, even though I still don't have a relationship with neither one, I'm able to have a genuine love and understanding and forgiveness for both individuals. Not to the point where I'm opening my door and saying, come in and do what you do, but in the sense of like, if anything was to happen or whatever, like to the best of my ability, I would be there, as a child. And that is for me like a representation to me that I'm growing spiritually. Earlier I gave the example of, somebody that I work with, and I think that shows my spiritual working shows in that relationship, because what used to get on my nerves and was once something that any little thing that was done would get on my nerves or cause me to have an attitude and make the day like rougher than it needs to be. Now the days are lighter, easier. They're what I make them, and I want to have light, fun, easy days. So the relationship reflects that. It reflects that. So I think that's one way that my spiritual growth has reflected and shown in my outer world. That's just me. I see you guys in there.